Start in the reverse. I absolutely agree. More study would be required with regards to, though the operational details are yet not out with regards to Sindur, but it has clearly stated that the cost benefit analysis, and that is what was indicated in our empirical analysis as well. As a syndicate, we came to this conclusion that with regards to the pace of operations, that specifically for the operations that were conducted during Sindur, cost benefit analysis has indicated that threats from air are likely to have more effect on us, and subsequently the countermeasures would also require to be gauged in that manner. With regards to the second aspect, sir, UAVs. I'll take an example of Russia-Ukraine war. It has clearly indicated that there is emerging utilization of UAVs in modern day conflict. There is no denying it. But over-reliance, as you have suggested, is not what we are suggesting. In our judgment, what we foresee moving forward is a collaboration or a complementary use of unmanned vehicles or unmanned weapons along with manned, or for that matter, other forces of military strength as well. So that would probably be a pool of, and that is where the military acumen would come in. At what ratio the use of UAVs or unmanned vehicles or unmanned systems, or for that matter surface to surface weapons, or for that matter air to surface weapons are utilized against ground targets. So this is what our understanding is. It would require a complementary approach of using UAVs or unmanned systems into the traditional methods of employment of air power in our understandings.
Sir, since he has started in reverse order, I will take on the second question with regards to military deterrence and its applicability. So we'll need to understand that military is just an instrument like any other national power instrument in the kitty of the government. Where we need to focus our attention is on the policy objectives. So military in isolation cannot be an end-all for a policy objective. A policy objective would require a more wholehearted, a more holistic approach, which will employ other elements of its national power into the context as well. So that is where our stand with regards to military applicability for and its deterrence value is at.
Yeah, it's an important question, I think. Democratization of warfare is the term you used, right? And how that affects stability and instability, conventional superiority or not. So much discussed there, yeah.
Just a small add-on to that. In our presentation, we have also talked about that for any small nations, or when we are looking for a whole of a nation approach, credibility and resources are the two important factors. When any small nations are thinking to maximize its power, that is a very important element is about credibility and resources. And one line which has been told by our External Affairs Minister, S. Jayashankar, and I wanted to quote, "This is a time for us to engage America, manage China, cultivate Europe, reassure Russia, bring Japan into play, and draw neighbors in, extend the neighborhood, and expand traditional consequences of support." So as a nation, we are also wanted to go for a whole of a nation approach, but we have a lot of complexities. To drive that complexities, he has given some way forward, which we are looking forward.
Taking the grand strategy question.
Okay, regarding the question of grand strategy, so the question is whether, I mean, it's stated that it's not clearly defined. We don't have a well-defined national security strategy. Now, the aim of national security strategy would, if you evaluate it, is to give a direction to the nation, to where to put your efforts in what, I mean, it's to give a general guideline. So it's the role of the policy, it's the role of the polity to give a direction to the nation. While, yes, I agree that, I mean, the question is, do we need a national security strategy or not? I mean, the verdict is still not out on that, and that's true, it's still debatable. However, there is no lack of direction as far as we see. We've even brought out the continuation in the strategic thought, quoting Prime Minister Narasimha Rao in 1995 to the Vision 2047. And there are contours, there are direction, there are trajectories which one can draw and which will give direction to the whole of nation approach to put your to direct your efforts in that direction. So while yes, the document does not exist, but we don't see it as a challenge or a lack of direction to the nation in inculcating a military strategy. And,
Good.
this,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. The second part of the question, NATO tactics in Ops Sindoor. We would refrain from referring to any operational part or tactics undertaken during Ops Sindoor, and we'd like to skip this question. Thank you.
Good. In the interest of time, let me begin to close this session and just highlight 4 points that I thought you brought to us. I mean, there's so much in here. I'm sure all of you have many questions, comments, and you will be engaging and sharing this today, tomorrow, future weeks, months, and years, what you have collected here. I think that's the objective of this course, that this is a living course. You're the fourth generation of this course, but there'll be more. There'll probably also be interesting experiences to do between courses, the alumni of these courses who should be re-engaged and share their own views on what you have done here. Very quick points to wrap this up before we go for tea. One, you spoke about changes in world order. We are between orders. You spoke about unpredictability, ambiguity, paralysis. I think one of you mentioned the word dangerous. At the same time, I think you've brought to us also the idea that this is not necessarily a threat. It's a transformation of an order. India has witnessed, gone through, survived, and thrived through many orders that have changed, come and gone. And that, I think, therefore, is a sense of hope, and again, very contrasting with people I speak to in Paris, London, Washington, Tokyo, Singapore, who are extremely worried about what is coming, what is happening. But I think you've brought to us a sense also that India is in many ways prepared. You yourself here are part of an exercise that prepares India for whatever is going to come. Two, you spoke about agility, and realism is the reality. I'm very happy you did. I've been a proponent that India has a strong school of realism for hundreds of years, for thousands of years, certainly for the last few 75 years. There's lines of continuity, and just because we don't have a document that spells it out does not mean that there is thinking and practice that defends India's national interests in very concrete ways. And therefore there is, yes, an India way to do diplomacy, there's an India way to prepare for battle, there's an India way to fight battles. Three, I'm very happy you focused on the neighborhood. There was a lot on the region. There was on Pakistan and China, first level of the neighborhood, very important neighbors and in part adversaries. You spoke about the immediate ring of other countries, whether it's the Maldives or Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, and you spoke about the larger Indian Ocean region, which has been consistently for the last 150 years described as India's security environment, from the Gulf of Suez to the Straits of Malacca. So I'm happy that you focused very much on that, because that is in the end the immediate context and environment in which India will defend what you called a security interest to promote its prosperity. And finally, on risk assessment factors in a grand strategy, I think it would be very interesting to do this risk assessment that you have done across different services and government organizations. I'm not sure that your Navy colleagues will be too happy to look at the table and the heat map you've brought, but it'll be interesting to make them go through the same process and validate or reject your own threats. And across government, civilian agencies, etc., I think the model that you've brought to us is an outcome of this course and should be replicated across different parts of the armed forces and the civilian establishments to have a more holistic approach to these challenges.